all you need to know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Good morning and thanks for listening in. This is the daily morning update from Bloomberg Quint and I'm Alex Matthew. Here's everything that you need to know at the start of your day. Oil extended gains alongside a broader market rally as expectations of more fiscal stimulus in the US have spurred hopes of an economic revival. Brent crude, which breached the $55 per barrel mark last night, held on to that level and was trading in fact higher than $56 this morning. Speaking of oil and the dynamics that have led to the current surge in prices, while oil producers cheered the surprise supply curbs that were unveiled by OPEC leader Saudi Arabia this month, India has expressed its displeasure at the move. Many oil buyers, including India, had been expecting another monthly supply increase, but instead they got no extra crude from most of the group's members and an unexpected cut of 1 million barrels a day from Saudi Arabia. Oil Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, at a conference hosted by the Atlantic Council yesterday, told the OPEC Secretary General that the group's policy contradiction was creating confusion for the consuming countries. On to news on the vaccine against COVID-19. The Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech have released fact sheets advising people on who should avoid taking vaccines. Bharat Biotech's fact sheet on Covaxin has advised pregnant or breastfeeding women, besides people with high fever or bleeding disorders, to not take the antidote. The fact sheet posted on the website of the company said the clinical efficacy of the vaccine is yet to be established and is being studied in phase 3 clinical trials. Serum Institute of India, on the other hand, advised people who are severely allergic to any ingredient of Covishield to not take the COVID-19 vaccine. In the 24 hours to 8 a.m. yesterday, India reported 10,064 new cases, the lowest since the 11th of June. Active cases now stand at just 2 lakh, a significant reduction from mid-September when the figure stood at close to 10 lakh. Moving on, the Supreme Court yesterday upheld 2 changes in the insolvency law that will help avoid delays through litigation. New owners can't be held liable for actions of previous management, and home buyers require a minimum threshold to initiate bankruptcy. For more details, do look up the story on the website bloombergquint.com. In other news, the government will sell its entire 26% stake in Tata Communications through the offer for sale and strategic sale route in the current financial year, according to a notice from the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. DIPAM said a part of the shareholding will be offered through OFS, and the balance, including anything left over from the OFS, will be offered to strategic partner Panatone Finvest. The transaction is expected to be completed by March. Speaking of share sales, Indigo Paints, in its ongoing offering, has raised 348 crore rupees from anchor investors at 1,490 per share, which is the upper end of the price band. At this price, the company's public issue is expected to fetch 1,170.16 crore, which comprises 300 crore rupees through fresh issuance and 870 crore rupees through offer for sale. In international news, US stocks rose as investors look towards Treasury Secretary nominee Janet Yellen's confirmation hearing. She is expected to call on lawmakers to act big on stimulus amid low borrowing costs. A weaker US dollar is also pushing up oil prices, which I told you about earlier. She also said the US is prepared to take on China's abusive trade and economic practices, signaling that President-elect Joe Biden's administration will aim to continue some of Donald Trump's hardline policies towards Beijing. Biden takes charge as US president later today. US stocks ended higher, with tech stocks outperforming, and the 3 early risers in the Asia-Pacific region were mostly positive at the start. The Nikkei 225 was the underperformer, trading just a shade lower last I checked. And with that, it's over to Hormuz Fatakia for the trade setup for the day in India. Morning, Hormuz. How are we looking today?
Good morning to you, Alex, and to those tuned in. The Sensex is back to where it was at the start of trade last Friday. It is now 600 points away from 50,000 after surging over 800 points on Tuesday. Both Sensex and the Nifty recovered most of the two-day drop, courtesy gains that were seen across the board. The top two gainers on the Nifty on Tuesday were the Bajaj twins, that were Finserv and Finance. Bajaj Finserv rose over 6.5%, while Bajaj Finance closed with gains of over 5%. Both these companies will be reporting their third quarter results today. Speaking of earnings, L&T Infotech's December quarter results were mostly ahead of analyst estimates. The company reported a 5.8% growth in its dollar revenue, which was the highest in nearly a year. Most of the company's segments saw single-digit revenue growth, with new deal wins at $278 million. The management has sounded optimistic about the future prospects, courtesy a healthy deal pipeline and sustained client mining. Tata Communications will not only be in the news for what Alex mentioned earlier, but also for its quarterly results. Net profit and operating performance of the company saw a substantial rise as compared to last year, owing to lower expenses. However, most of these numbers were below consensus estimates. The company said that it managed to reduce net debt during the quarter, owing to strong free cash flow generation. Net debt to EBITDA stood at 1.9 times for the quarter, as compared to 2.9 times during the same period last year. ICICI Lombard's gross direct premium income saw a growth of 9% as compared to the previous year, which according to the company was higher than the industry growth of 4.9% during the quarter. Solvency ratio for the quarter was 2.76 times as compared to 2.18 times last year. Some important non-index names reporting results today include Federal Bank, GMM Pfaudler, Havells India, HDFC AMC, Hindustan Zinc, L&T Technology Services, Syngene, Sterlite Technologies, and Tejas Networks. Aside of earnings, I spoke to you about Maruti raising prices across models yesterday. It is now the turn for tyre companies. CEAT has warned of higher input costs impacting margins. The company said that it may face some pressure on margins in the fourth quarter of FY21 as raw material costs continue to rise. On the positive side though, the tyre manufacturer said that the replacement market has been robust owing to customer preferences in the personal mobility and strong rural demand. It also reduced debt worth 260 crore rupees during the quarter. Prince Pipes and Fittings has reversed a related party transaction on Tuesday. The company had remitted an advance amount of 40 crore rupees to the promoter group entity for the purchase of immovable property in Mumbai. Based on this transaction, the promoter group has made the first tranche of repayment worth 26.1 crore rupees. So watch out for this stock in today's session. Adani Transmission has said that it expects to commission 8 out of the 9 under construction transmission projects by the end of 2021. In its third quarter business update, the company said that collection efficiency during the quarter reached 109.9% due to recoveries from the first half of FY21. It also said that distribution losses for its subsidiary AEML is improving and it stood at 6.37% during the quarter. Indian Bank will be holding a board meeting on the 22nd of January to consider a proposal to raise funds through various methods. The stock was the second best performer on the PSU Bank Index on Tuesday, ending with gains of over 5%. IPO updates. IRFC's issue was fully subscribed at the end of the second day of bidding. The issue has seen overall subscription of 1.04 times so far. Institutional subscription remained zero, while the portion for HNIs was subscribed 18.2%. The quota for retail investors is subscribed over 2 times so far. Early ticks on the SGX Nifty show that the index traded 80 points lower, around the mark of 14,480. Lots more on the stocks that I just mentioned in our All You Need to Know copy on BloombergQuint.com. With that, I wish you a safe day ahead, and it's back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Hormuz. And as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.